All right. Well, shit, here we are. I hope the lighting's okay. I'm just gonna start talking. That's how it worked last time, right? So people want to know what authentic energy looks like, feels like, tastes like, smells like. Well, really, when you're in your own energy, things are just flowing. It's ease. It's a deeper connection with self. It allows you to connect more freely with others because you're in the moment. There's no impediment to just being, and there's this sense of just, you're outside of logical thought, right? You're existing. Blue, look this way. There you go. You get your pretty face in the photo, Blue. You're the talent here, Blue, not me. All right. So that's one. Mind, body, spirit, motion, imprint, blocks, sources. Yeah. So unfortunately, when we have imprints, they happen very early on at times. We're not conscious of them. You could be even in the womb and have an imprint that creates an energetic block in your space. But oftentimes, we will essentially be in survival mode, and the imprint affects each layer of your system. Everything from the nervous system to the immune system so not only do you have this energetic block, there's an emotional block, there's a psychological aspect to it. You have maybe anxiety around that, but there's also this physiological restraint, and that's why you see people having, different kind of health issues at times too. It's all connected, right? All of these things are connected. So that's why it's so important to understand, like, yes, Western medicine has its place and stuff, and even, Eastern medicine has its place and stuff, and we can address things from the physical layer, we can address things at the psychological layer, but because everything at its core is energy, when you can tap into the energy, right, you're getting to the root, okay? So let's talk about fear. Blue, you need to look this way, Blue. Blue, you need to look this way. You're too pretty to not be on the camera. There you go. So, why they say fear is the mind killer? Well, why is that? It's restrictive, it constricts, it restrains, it's hesitation, and of course fear has its place in the world. If you're gonna be out, staying at the edge of a cliff, it's gonna be a good thing to have a little bit of fear around that. But it's when fear really impedes us psychologically, emotionally, and taking actions or preventing from people, opening up and allowing the experiences of life to come in, that fear is not serving us. And so part of the problem is we're living in a culture where, we're kind of exploited by our fear. It's very motivating for, control, for buying products. You're not pretty enough. Buy these health products, buy these beauty products. It runs really deep. And so, you get into certain narcissists like to study things like Machiavelli, but you can start to see in culture at times where people in power are intentionally using fear to elicit certain responses from the masses. So oftentimes the name of the game is, how can we disengage and pull back from and release the fear that is so prevalent in our society, maybe prevalent in our own psyches, in our own hearts, in our own minds, because we've been through some trauma, right? And get realigned with that and reconnected with that deeper part of us that ultimately is fearless, right? I've got love and fear tattooed on my knuckles for a reason. It represents a dichotomy, a positive, negative polarity, right? Fear is restricting and it's closed and it's saying no to life. And embodying your higher energy is really, the consciousness level of a higher frequency of, it sounds cheesy, but love, right? And it's open to life. It's not held back. It's not closed off. It's in the moment. It's blossoming. It's saying yes to life. So, on one level, we can deprogram from societal programming. That's one layer of the issue here. Another layer of the issue is neutralizing blocks in our space that are keeping us stuck in fear, right? There's our own mental image pictures that have energetic or emotional charges to them, right? The lenses and the filters through which we see the world that we need to de-energize and clear out, so we can start to see the world through clearer lenses, right? You got shit colored lenses on, you're gonna see shit everywhere. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people close to me who everything's a potential threat. And so all they see is threats, right? And you're only seeing threats, you're magnetized to threats. So you start to continue to create threats in your life, right? It's really becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's tricky because, you don't want to stick your head in the sand and ignore that there's negative and bad things in the world, right? But you also want to clear the filters away so you're not just unconsciously attracting and creating things to be scared of into your life. So I think it's really important to understand that, when you're trying to get unstuck from a place, oftentimes we have this awareness of like, oh, I need to do A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. And, it's really difficult when you start to put this much pressure on yourself because you have an awareness of where you're at and where you want to go, right? And oftentimes it's a lot better and a lot easier to take small, simple steps and be consistent with them rather than trying to eat the whole pie all at once, or whatever analogy you want to use. And it's the consistency of little disciplines. I'm still learning discipline myself, but it's the consistency of little disciplines, right? That then build the foundation for now you can level up and take on larger disciplines. It's also the same with, you're trying to find your purpose. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. A lot of people are really wanting to push forward and be in alignment with, the things in their life that are, going to feel like they're helping the world and helping people and aligned with their purpose and all these things. But they haven't sorted out they're still stuck on, some 20-year trauma or some 50-year-old hang up. And it's not necessarily their fault. They've done maybe a lot of work to work through these things. But if you haven't gotten to the core, it makes it very difficult for you as this spiritual, energetic being to be able to actually reach those higher levels. So it's like you're hard capped, right? And so it's really just if you just simply Google, look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's really critical. This is why you can't bypass, right? We have to lay the right foundation. There's no shortcuts. If you do the work and lay the foundation, then you go up to the next level, right? Now you're dealing with level 20 problems, and then you sort out, using arbitrary numbers, but you sort out level 20 problems. Okay, cool. Now we can get to these larger problems. And that's how you ascend that hierarchy. And eventually, as you level up, alignment with your purpose is just going to be a natural byproduct, right? You're going to wake up one day and start to, it's not a one day wake up type of thing always, but more and more, you're going to have a growing awareness of and clarity of what you want to do. Your intuition will be louder because you've freed up all this energy by releasing and healing and balancing yourself that now is just naturally dialed in. It's naturally just moving towards the next thing. It's bringing and attracting the next set of circumstances to you. So your intuition gets activated more deeply, and then the path opens up, right? There's a little bit more clarity. Maybe you see 10 feet down the road of the path. Oh, geez, I'm not really sure what I want to do with my life fully. Or maybe and you don't know how it's going to manifest or how it's going to come about. But you get to that level of unlocking more and more of your energy. Okay, well now I can see 10 feet down the road. That's a start, right? And then you unlock some more. Oh, geez, now I've got, 100-foot view down the road. And it can't keep building. The picture gets brighter and clearer and all these things. So one step at a time, need to get through the base level things to unlock the higher levels, right? That's why I talk about bypassing. This guy knows, this freaking goose knows. He's talking out here about it. But yeah, we can't, if you're intentionally trying to take shortcuts or unconsciously trying to take shortcuts, it's a problem. It's going to take you longer to level up, right? And that's why it's so important to be a little bit humble of knowing like, okay, yeah, I've done a lot of work, but maybe there's some shit I don't know yet. Just look at your results. If you're not getting the results you want, maybe there's a piece missing. But yeah, we have to be humble enough to maybe say, hey, wherever I'm at, level 1, level 10, level 20, level 100, whatever. I need to gather some more information maybe to properly, thoroughly assess the situation, have the skills I need to get through this part of this journey. And then when you do, again, it opens up, okay? So I want to talk, we've talked a little bit about like the black sheep of the world, like being on a different wavelength as an empath. And, one thing I really want to say to people is that it's important to understand, like, as you balance and heal yourself, like you're actually going to go from feeling like and experiencing being more of an outsider and to shedding people that might, be on that kind of wavelength where there's judgment or whatnot, and you're feeling that way too. The more you run your energy, the more it's this authentic vibration, and the more you're going to attract people that are going to be on a similar wavelength. But ultimately, you don't fit into this crazy, dysfunctional, dying world, and it's painful to feel like an outsider at times, but it doesn't need to be, right? Again, as you start to embody your higher frequency energy, you are actually helping usher in the new paradigm. People call it the new earth. They call it a bunch of things, but that's you getting in alignment with these higher energies. And then you are ultimately, this is you stepping into the leadership role, right? Of ushering in this new world and being an example to people and embodying it, right? It's one thing to know something, but to live it, to feel it, right? It's a different thing. So if you're feeling like you're still kind of an outsider and stuck maybe there, just know like you gotta just keep going. You just have to keep going. And again, the more you balance and the more you heal, you're clearing out invalidation, you're clearing out the lower frequencies of this old, decaying, dying world. Right? And you're clearing the way for and embodying more the energy of this new reality that it's just on a totally different frequency. It's a totally different paradigm. And so the healing, being in that energy and in that paradigm and in that dynamic and it being your experience internally and externally is the benefit of going through the healing journey and getting through all the madness you've been through. That's the benefit. That's what, and that's where your personal power is, right? People are, got hang-ups about words and shit, but power is not a dirty word. In the old world, yes, power exploits, right? And uses, like we've talked about, fear to control people. But true personal power is you connected to that inner being, that inner core of your being, that is authentic and true and righteous, right? There's nothing dirty or evil about it at all, right? It's your ability to create with ease and with effort, right? How long do you think it took for me to record this video? I spent 3 minutes of writing notes and I'm just speaking. It's easy, it flows, right? There's no effort. Right? And that's just embodying and being in alignment and embodying these things. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time figuring this stuff out, and as you guys are too, but it all kind of coalesces and comes together. But whatever it is, being in that authentic energy, to come full circle here, but being in that authentic energy, it is operating from this newer paradigm, and it's devoid of fear. It's not stuck with thinking and the fear, how fear connects to the mind and figuring everything out. No, it's loose, it's ease, it's flowing, right? It's almost like you're a conduit, you're a channel for information, speaking or otherwise, right? Whether you're creating art or creating a family, you are a creator. And so the more you get in alignment and embody this higher frequency energy, the more online your abilities as a creator just come online and just effortlessly start to come about, okay? It's flow, it's ease. Let's talk about discernment real quick, and then we'll call it a night. I'm only at 15 minutes, interesting. So discernment, why it's so critical. There is so much crap in the world. You know, we're in information overload. What is up? What is down? Left is right. Right is left. You know, it's crazy times. So there's all this information flooded through our channels and social media, and we're more connected than ever. But we don't always necessarily know what's true and what's not. So part of getting properly aligned with you, the spirit, is your ability to discern reality from illusion a lot better. And the more you heal, this is one of the benefits of healing and getting alignment, is you spend less time getting caught up in the bullshit, right? People try to scam me all the time, but I don't spend any time there because it just bounces off of me. I don't have to waste any time or energy. I just know that this person's a scammer or whatever, right? Like, whether it's someone in your work situation, it's just anytime and people, this is the thing too, you know, people speak their own personal truth, and it's mixed with a bunch of freaking propaganda or deception that they've swallowed, right? So it's very, very important that we continue to get clear so we can properly see and discern truth from illusion. Right? This is part of your journey in healing and getting into proper alignment. It makes things so much easier, right? When you're a receptor of, you're like a human. Some of you are already human lie detectors, right? But the problem is that we also need to be able to question our own bullshit. It's very important to be able to question your own beliefs, question everything, right? That's why a lot of the leaders in the 60s, right, are, question authority. Question everything. You look at someone like George Carlin, right? We have to question as part of critical thinking. So I personally think that the best tools for this is, on one level, the mind, right? Exercising critical thinking and thought, that has its place, but also clearing your system so your receiver can energetically know the vibration of truth and discern it from the vibration of fiction. And then you also have this other layer of being able to use your logical mind to sift through the details, right? They can work together. You need both, I think, right? So the clearer you get, right? Just clearing your system, getting more in alignment by neutralizing larger blocks in your space, the easier this stuff gets. The clearer you are to be able to identify truth from fiction. How much would that help you in your life? It's very obvious, you know, more and more getting less entangled in the bullshit. You're gonna get more momentum and more energy. You only have so much gas in the tank every day. If you're spending 30% of it entangled in bullshit, well, that's a limitation, right? But you get your system clear. Now you're only spending maybe 3% of your gas tank every day. You're gonna go a lot farther every day. It's gonna start to snowball, right? You're gonna build momentum. That's what alignment is. That's what embodiment of all this stuff is. That's the point. That's the practical, that's the practical expression of it in your life and how it's gonna manifest. Hope this helps. Keep up the good work wherever you're at on your journey. And see you next time. All right. Oh, Blue, you're a good girl.